BookTube, welcome back to my channel. Today we're here to do the reading tastes tag, which I just saw Kazen from Always Doing. I saw her video. I stopped just so I could make my own video without seeing her entire responses because I was interested by the questions that I saw, and I thought it would be great to do a tag video even though I haven't been tagged by her. I don't know, I didn't watch her entire video, but I don't think I was tagged, and I have a lot of other videos that I've been tagged in that I haven't done, so that's weird. But I really wanted to make this video, and it's about the reading taste tag. And since we're talking about tastes, she has a taste for things that are bristly. She really likes to brush her teeth. She likes bristles, so why not play with the bristle and have her taste while I talk about my taste. So 10 questions about your reading taste. My favorite genre is the first question, and my response would be literary fiction, although I don't know what that is, so let me explain. I love books that include science or philosophy or psychology or religious themes being discussed and explored through a person's life. So books that are allegorical because they are showing some other thing at work, history or science or philosophy. So examples of that, one of my all-time favorite books is A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki, which I have a copy somewhere over there. It was longlisted for the Booker Prize several years ago, and I thought that it should have won, but it didn't. But that's another story for another time. A Tale for the Time Being because it talks about science principles being incorporated in someone's understanding of how to live life. Other books like that were Ming Jen's Little Gods and Chemistry by Wiki Wang. All of those incorporated science principles being shown through someone's life. I really enjoyed Harvest by Jim Crace, which showed biblical themes, religious themes being portrayed through personal relationships. Love that kind of book. So that's my favorite genre response. Second question is the most difficult genre for me to read, and although I love science in fiction, I don't necessarily love science fiction, and I also don't necessarily love books that are harrowing. I don't like scary books. I don't like scary movies, but I also don't like scary literature. So when I was a teenager, I read a book with a scene that I think it was a Stephen King book. The scene was about a man who used some kind of acid to dissolve a person's body after he had committed a crime, and decades later, I still remember that. I remember that I didn't finish the book because I didn't want to read anymore. And if it was a Stephen King book, then I haven't read any Stephen King since then because I just want to avoid anything that is like that. I don't like books that are scary. Yeah. So, third question, my preferred age range to read. I like adult books. I like books that have characters that I can identify with or relate to what they are going through. I read the occasional children's book and young adult novel, but my favorite thing to read are books that are showing adults doing adult things. And I don't mean feel like I painted myself in a corner. I'm not talking about books that have sexual themes. I'm just talking about adult characters engaging in issues that face people who are over 21 in their work, in their life, in their thought, in their relationships, in their responsibilities, all of that. Question number 4. Do I like books that are character or plot driven? I like books that have both. But if I had to choose one, I'd prefer a book that showed the development of a character because, like I said, I like to see characters embodying the concepts of other parts of life. So it doesn't have to have a big scene happening in every page, but I like to see how characters deal with the things that are happening around them, how they think about them, how they process them, how they decide what they're going to do, how they change. So I guess that's a character-driven book. Question number 5. What is my preferred perspective? Recently, I've read a few books that have been second person, and I find that very interesting. When an author tries to incorporate me, or the reader in general, tries to incorporate us into the telling of the story, trying to get us maybe to imagine ourselves as the characters, I find that interesting. But in general, I like to read books that are third person, I suppose. I think I prefer seeing what is happening to the person as opposed to just seeing how the person is thinking about it. Because several books that I have enjoyed have been dual perspective, where we get some of what the character is thinking from their own viewpoint, but also getting that kind of omniscient narrator who's telling us other things that are happening that maybe the main character isn't privy to. So I've just talked about first person, second person, and third person. I like all of it. I think my preferred is to read a third person narrative, but I find all perspectives interesting because it's not just a perspective, it's about what the author does with that technique. So, question number 6, my preferred tense. I actually really like present continuous. I like to see what is happening and follow it in some kind of a suspenseful or thrilling way. You get to seeing how things are unfolding. But I've also really enjoyed books that have had dual timelines where we go back in time and see how earlier events have shaped this person's present day persona, their decisions. A book that I read recently that showed that really well was The Same Earth by Kai Miller. Kai Miller is Jamaican living in England, and the book that I'm talking about had a young woman who we follow as she immigrates from Jamaica and goes to England and then returns to Jamaica after a family member dies, and how the author flipped back to show like her parents' life before she was born and some of the decisions that they made and how that informed who she became. But then we also have this present day. We also have this present day part of the story where we're showing how this young woman has taken everything that has happened, or at least that she is privy to knowing about, and how it's informing her day-to-day decisions. So I love that. I love books that are dual. So I guess my tastes are all over the place. Question 7, do you prefer series or standalone? I mostly read standalone books. I am not a huge series reader, even though I have read series and enjoyed them in the past. Most of that was in my more juvenile reading. Like I used to love Nancy Drew and Bobsy Twins and Hardy Boys and the Sweet Valley Twins and all of that. But I don't think I've followed a series for a while now. Even books that have series, if they have standalone components to them. Like, I love the Neapolitan novels, books by Elena Ferrante, My Brilliant Friend. That was a series that I read and really enjoyed. Marilyn Robinson had a series of 4 books. The 4th book, I think, is coming out or just came out recently. And that was Home and Lila and Gilead. And I've read 2 of the 4 books so far, and they function as standalones. So I like when a series is written so that the books are also standalone appropriate. So yeah, I guess my answer to that is also both. But in general, if I have to choose one, it's always going to be standalone because I don't like to be tied to having to read something to feel like I know how the rest of the story is going. I like to be able to stop if I'm not completely invested. Of course, I also understand the appeal of having a series that is very popular, and once you have gotten a good audience for the first and second book, you're pretty much assured that you will continue to have sales for the rest of the series. So I understand the appeal for the author and the publishers, but not always the same appeal for the readers. Question 8. Do you like books that are long or short? I just scribbled some notes and I'm not sure if that's the question, but that's the question I'm going to answer. Do I prefer long books or short books? I'm going to say I like books that are about 300 page average. More than 350 pages, I struggle to read the book just because it feels like I have to dedicate a bigger chunk of time to reading it, and I'm not always sure that I'm going to have that time to read the book. I like to start a book and finish it during that month, and I'm usually also reading multiple books at a time. So if there's several big books, I'm just going to kind of push it to the side for a while, and so that's not appealing. I do have books that I have really enjoyed that were longer books that I knew was gonna require some commitment, and I started and I continued and I finished and I felt accomplished when I was done. But in general, if I have to choose, I love a book that is short, that I feel like I can go into, get into, experience, enjoy, and come out of in a relatively short time. And some of the books that I have read recently that I have really enjoyed were shorter books. I can think of Bright by Duanwad Pimwana, a translated book from Thailand that I read a couple of months ago that I really loved, and it was very short. I don't remember how many pages exactly because I read it in electronic format, but I do know the book was really short. But I can also think of some longer books that I have read recently that I also really enjoyed. Like I read Seville by David Story, which was a previous Man Booker winner that I read a few months ago, and I still need to review. But I really enjoyed that. It was a longer book. I'm sure I have lots of examples, but we won't go any further into that. Question number 9, the format that you like best. The traditional format of a novel is always really enjoyable to me. But I also like when authors experiment with things. I read a book that had mixed media, let me think now, Night Film by Marisha Peso last year that was really well done. I think the author included newspaper clippings, magazine clippings, like what copies, screen prints, screenshots, that's the word that I'm thinking. So it was about a person looking for someone who was missing, and I thought it was really successful to show how you would use the tools that were available to you to do research. So showing what you would find if you put in an internet search and incorporating that in the text in the book, I thought was really successful. Where'd You Go, Bernadette also included some mixed media. And I also really like books that are epistolary, that show letter writing. So yeah, all of those are things that I really enjoy in books. And question number 10, what are you currently reading? I'm reading a lot of books. I'm reading right now, I think I have 3 nonfiction books that I'm trying to finish up in the next couple of days because I'm reading to judge the finals for the BookTube Prize. I am reading another nonfiction book. I'm doing a buddy read of The Bully Pulpit. Some of you who are new around here, who you've probably only seen me talk about wrap-ups and what I'm planning to read next. So you haven't gotten a chance to watch a video where I just chat. So I thought that this was a good way to reintroduce my reading taste to you all. Thank you for applauding, Mommy. You're so sweet. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to chat with you in the comments down below. Let me know what your response to any of these questions would be. And if you're so inclined to do the video yourself, if you have a BookTube channel or if you want to start one, go ahead and answer the questions and let me know. Leave me a comment down below that you've done it so I can go watch it. I don't get a chance to watch as many videos as I'd like to just because I'm a child. But I'd love to interact with you, so leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see more. Okay, I think we have to go. But let's chat in the comments. Check out the links in the description box down below if you want to support this channel. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.